Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, all you dregs of society, all you sycophant, all you stinkos, all you hateful people who celebrate the president and honor America. Of course, you're always welcome here. And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. And joining me as my co-host is the president and CEO of Frontiers of Freedom, and that's George Landreth. George, welcome back to Conservative Commandos.
It is my honor to be here because this is the place to be.
Well, George, I appreciate your participation. I know you take time off, not just from your job to do this, but also from your family. I know you've got 7 kids, so I really appreciate that. George, how is the family doing?
Well, you know, they've survived this whole COVID thing pretty well and kept healthy. And I have to say, though, my son in college has been given an assignment. He's supposed to take part in this social experiment. So he's going to wear a Biden 2020 T-shirt for a week everywhere he goes.
Well, that shouldn't be too bad on the college campus. You know.
Yeah, well, he goes to a conservative college, so it might not be great, but anyhow, and plus they're doing distance learning right now because of the virus and all that. But at any rate, just to see how people react, and then of course later they'll put on a Trump 2020 and see how people react. But right. So he's been wearing the Biden 2020 T-shirt for the last day or two. He's been spit on, he's been punched, he's had bottles thrown at him. It's crazy.
You gotta be kidding.
Yeah. Well, I just want to see
he's wearing a Biden 2020 shirt and he's being spit on and punched.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't have expected that, quite frankly.
I wouldn't either. Now, if you had said to me he was wearing a Trump 2020,
exactly.
George just goes on, maybe Chris Wallace was right the other night when he was said to the president, you have to condemn white racists.
Yeah, well, I have to say, as bad as the experience has been in the first day or two of this, I'm very curious to see how it goes once he actually leaves the house. Just kidding. I don't punch my kid.
Okay, I walked into that, didn't I? I walked into that opening door.
Yeah. Now the sad thing is, of course, if he were wearing a Trump T-shirt outside my house, probably all those things would actually happen to him because the real violence is on the left. But anyhow.
Well, George, I have one of these masks that I wear when I go outside the house. I wear this wherever I need to wear the mask, except if I go to a restaurant or a diner or anywhere where somebody is going to be handling my food. But I wear this mask, and surprisingly, overwhelmingly, the response to this mask has been positive. I'll go into, Mary and I would go into a supermarket and people will say to us, wow, we're with you. Where did we get one of those? We love the man and all that. One woman, I have to say, she looked at Mary, she looked at me, she goes, oh my God. That was the only negative response. Now, I don't know if it's because people just start reacting, or is it the baseball bat that I've been using as a walking cane since I had a medical procedure. But
there you go.
For one reason or another, I've been getting good responses. Well, George, the debate the other night, we've had a couple of days to think about it, to listen to others, to rehash it. And you have a very, very interesting list. And you did a little bit of fact checking, didn't you, George?
Yeah, I did. And it's kind of interesting. I mean, overall, I would say Biden was purposefully evasive. I thought he was in many instances out and out dishonest about his positions on substantive issues. And to me, that shows a tremendous contempt for the American voter. He's basically saying, I think you're stupid. And I'm prepared to try to pull the wool over your eyes because I have no respect for you at all. And that's what I saw coming out in this debate. To the extent, it was hard to follow at times because there's a lot of talking over each other. But I kind of made a list of things. And the most obvious, of course, was the court packing, to which he said, I'm not going to answer that question. And then he went into this impassioned plea about just vote for me. And it reminded me of Nancy Pelosi. You got to vote for me if you want to find out what my position is on this issue.
Right.
And that tells you what his position is on that issue.
Absolutely. What everyone suspects and thinks that he will pack the courts.
Oh,
They are going to try to pack the courts, George.
Yeah. And to give you an
Without a
idea
doubt.
how outlandish that is, this is a position that when FDR proposed it, when he had an overwhelming veto-proof majority in the Senate, guess what they said?
They said no.
No. Yeah, they said no and hell no. They were it was, it wasn't even close. So this gives you an idea how outlandish this is. But then you got, you can go back to other lies. I'll just try to run through some of them because there's so many of them. So he made reference to the good people on both sides, white supremacy, that whole garbage down in Charlottesville. And we all know, if you just watch, this isn't a difficult fact check. You just have to listen to the entire speech, because the very next sentence, Donald Trump says, I'm talking about the people who are talking about whether or not we should take the statue down. Good people on both sides of that debate. I'm not talking about the hateful, disgusting racists and white supremacists or Antifa. They're violent. They're disgusting. He was very clear on what he was condemning. But at any rate, so that's lie one. Lie two, he referred to the Russian bounty lie, which at this point, American intelligence, even Colin Powell, who has endorsed Biden, does not like Donald Trump, has said, intelligence says that there is no truth to this. This is a rumor that someone released to try to make him look bad. But the fact is, the Russians haven't put a bounty on our soldiers in Afghanistan. That's what current intelligence is. And yet he continues to pretend it's the truth. And it's been established. That's dishonest. If he wants to say some have alleged, that's one thing, because that's true. Some have alleged. Nobody with any real knowledge has alleged. Nobody who's credible has alleged. But he doesn't even say that. He pretends it's a fact. So that's a lie.
George, you know one of the places, and let me say this while we are talking about the truth. Our troops, one of the areas where I caught Joe Biden in the lie is when Donald Trump said to him that he, Joe Biden, called our troops stupid bastards. Yeah. And he denied it. Now, when I first saw
watch
that
it on video.
Well, George, at first I thought that video had to be doctored. I honestly thought that no way he would say something like that about our troops, especially in front of our troops in public. I thought the video was doctored. I thought it was edited.
Right.
I investigated it, and I found the entire video.
Right.
It was nearly a half an hour video, and I went through the entire unedited video when he was in Dubai, where he said, a lot of people think I'm dumb. I'm really a pretty smart guy. After all, I married Jill Biden, and I appointed Johnson to the academy. And there was not a lot of reaction. He said, go ahead and clap, you stupid bastards. Yeah. He said that. He called them stupid. Then he says to him, what are you, dumb or something? Now, this is a man who at the time was vice president of the United States. I don't know why that video didn't come out then. Well, he denied it the other night during the debate.
Yeah, no, and that was actually on my list. But you're right; that's exactly right. And what's interesting is the corollary there is another lie he told was he said the president referred to dead servicemen as losers. And that has been so thoroughly debunked. Every single person who was in that meeting, even people who hate Donald Trump who were in the meeting, have said, "Yeah, that didn't happen. That's false. That's a lie." And even the Secret Service's logs on what happened that day prove it to be false. And the Atlantic has since kind of said, "Well, yeah, we might have been wrong." They haven't actually officially retracted it, but they have acknowledged they were probably wrong. And yet he continues to pretend that it's an established fact and denies a video of him doing these things. So to me, this gives you the level of dishonesty that this man has.
Well, it's like if you tell a lie long enough, hard enough, unfortunately, there are some people that will start to believe it.
Right. So I know we don't have a lot of time.
Maybe this man's so deranged he even thinks it's true.
He could well. Sure. He could well. So I know there's not a lot of time left in this segment, but I'll try. Cut me off when we're done, but I'll try to race through a few.
Let's do a couple more.
One is he said that the local Democratic leadership in Portland could have taken care of the problem if Trump hadn't interfered. Okay, that's a lie. Trump did not interfere. He simply called them and said, if you would like the help of the National Guard, I'd be happy to call them out. To which they said, no, thank you, we don't need your help. He did not do any interfering whatsoever. So again, another lie. He also lied about how he's been speaking out against the violence. He has in the last week or so since the Democratic Convention, but through the Democratic Convention, through the end of it, never spoke out about it. He refused to condemn Antifa. He said it in the debate last night. He didn't even, he said it was an idea. It's an idea. I didn't know that ideas could shoot policemen and start fires and burn
George,
city blocks down.
I didn't know ideas could get millions and millions of dollars donated to it.
Yeah, and also do millions and millions of dollars of damage to cities.
Right.
So, anyhow, on top of that, he, well, the bottom line is he also would not in the debate endorse law and order. But my point is him and Kamala Harris were utterly silent on the topic, and when they did speak out, they encouraged it. Kamala Harris said that the rioting would not stop and it should not stop. At one point. She also was out raising money for rioters, for their bail money, so they could get back out and get back to the riots. So that was a lie on his part.
George, let's do another one or two before we take a break.
Fair enough. He, of course, has said last night, he said he wouldn't ban fracking. And I could produce you 4 or 5 videos of him saying that he's going to ban fracking. But all of a sudden last night, he says he's not going to. And, another lie, he said that he's had a COVID plan since March. Not true. In March, he was criticizing the president for having shut down travel to Europe and China and calling him a xenophobe. And then when he did come out with a plan, it was in like June or July, and all it was a repeat of everything Donald Trump had already done. And yet he acts like he has the plan. So again, another lie.
Another lie.
And then he tells us that Donald Trump's responsible for all these COVID deaths. But he doesn't, for example, mention Governor Cuomo, the Chinese, or any of the governors.
Governor Newsom, Governor Phil Murphy.
Yeah.
Because by and large, George, apparently over 40% of the COVID deaths happen in nursing homes. Yeah. Because governors like Newsom, Murphy, Cuomo insisted these COVID patients go back to the nursing homes. Hey, George, let's do our first break now. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landreth and yours truly, Rick Trader. Today's show, like all our shows, is being brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. George and I will be right back with more of Joe Biden's Whoppers, I guess we could call them.
There you go.
We'll be right back.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Once again, we want to welcome you back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landreth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And oh yes, by the way, today's show, like all our shows, is being brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. And if Joe Biden was honest, he would tell you, if he is elected president, you can say goodbye to both of those. So, George, we were talking about some of the lies that Joe Biden said during the debate with President Trump the other night. And what's amazing to me is the list. You were the fact checker, George. You've got a long, long list of Joe Biden lies here, just in the hour and a half debate. And by the way, they figured it out that each candidate spoke roughly about 60 minutes. You know, they both had about equal time. So look, how many lies are here? Over 20. So it was a lie about every 3 minutes, George.
Yeah. And I probably didn't catch them all because sometimes you couldn't hear everything properly. So, you know,
right.
but the ones I could hear, that's what I've got. But so, for example, another one of them, and this was a big whopper. He said that Hunter Biden did nothing wrong. Quote unquote, he did nothing wrong. He was kicked out of the military because of his use and abuse of crack cocaine.
Yep.
And then he also said that he's cleaned up, he's past that problem now. It's not a problem anymore. And that's also not true. There are people who've seen him in D.C. at private clubs snorting cocaine in a back room somewhere with, in a private room with a stripper and so forth, doing, So the bottom line is his son has issues. And for him to act like it's some big success story that he's passed all this is simply absurd. Right. But that's not the real issue. The real issue is that his son got millions of dollars from Ukraine, from China, and from Russia. That's now a proven fact, all a matter of public record. And this is a guy, like I said, who got kicked out of the military. So it's not like he was some whiz-bang, this is not like some awesome business mind that everyone's lining up to try to get his advice. This is a guy who got kicked out of the military because he couldn't even follow the rules. And all of a sudden now, and so Trump asked a pretty good question. He said, just out of curiosity, the mayor's wife of Moscow gave your son $3.5 million. What did he do to deserve it? And his honest was to say, none of that is true. And that's demonstrably false. This is a matter of public record. And so,
well, apparently this $3.5 million was a wire transfer from as you said, the wife of the former mayor of Moscow. And apparently it might have something to do with prostitution.
Well, that's right, because I think that family, oligarch family, has some pretty significant ties to human trafficking. So it's not just prostitution in the sense of voluntary. I'm not saying that's okay,
Well,
but I
Hunter
do think.
Biden-
But when a girl is kidnapped and forced into prostitution, that's slavery. It's sex slavery. It's a pernicious evil. I'm not saying I endorse the idea of somebody voluntarily engaging that activity, but when you put someone in slavery, that's beyond the pale.
Well, George, let me read from the Senate report that just came out the other day. Hunter Biden paid non-residential women who were nationals of Russia and other Eastern European countries who appear to be linked to an Eastern European prostitution or human trafficking ring. This is not a good guy, Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
You know, he's had his troubles in his past. Apparently his troubles are continuing today. And you know what, George? Troubled people who have a lot of money at their disposal tend to go back and do all the bad things they did when they had no money. Now they got it.
Right.
Now Hunter Biden has it.
Right.
You know, George.
And this is about
just
corruption.
smoke their
Someone can
flag.
say, why are we worried about Hunter Biden's personal problems? It's
Yep.
not about his personal problems. This is what it's about. If the vice president's getting paid by foreign powers to influence American policy towards them, that would be a crime for which he could go to jail. You could even say it's treason, but it's certainly corruption. At the very
George,
least, it's corruption.
Let's change the name. Let's take out the name Hunter Biden and put in the name Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr.
Sure.
Wow. The media would have a field day with this.
Absolutely.
Would have a field day with this.
And
they would demand investigations. They would demand impeachments.
Yeah, and not a
They
one
would
of them would
demand
say this is a
special
personal
counsels.
family matter.
Yeah.
Not
Not
a
a
one of
single
them
one
would.
of them.
So that's my point, and that's why it's a lie. Another one that he said, he blamed Trump for shutting down the economy over the virus, and then later said that he would shut it down longer.
Well, and
Donald
excuse
Trump
me,
didn't
what?
shut
Shut it down. The governor shut it
Oh,
down.
I agree.
The governors of each of the states shut their economy down.
So it's a double
Donald-
lie, because one, Trump didn't shut it down, so you're right.
Yep.
So he accused Trump of doing something that Cuomo and others did.
Yep.
But then on top of that, a couple sentences later, he's telling everyone how he would shut the government down or shut the country down longer and shut schools down longer. So there's something kind of like, that's like a lie and like painfully stupid on top of being a lie.
Yeah.
But anyhow, interestingly enough, Hunter Biden is silent on Governor Cuomo's refusal to release data regarding nursing home COVID deaths. Not a word from him about that, but Donald Trump's the problem. So, another thing he did that was a lie is he denied supporting the Green New Deal. He said that first he starts off by telling us that it will pay for itself. It's awesome. It's going to create jobs. It'll pay for itself. Then Donald Trump says, oh, so you're for the Green New Deal. Then he goes, oh, no, I'm not for the Green New Deal. I'm for the Biden plan. Well, see, you were just talking about how great it was, and then you go to his website, and it says it's a crucially important framework for climate change solutions on his website. But all of a sudden now, it's no longer. It's just it's kind of like the second you call him on it, he goes, no, I'm not for that. It's like, yes, you are. You've been for it. You've said you're for it. Your website says you're for it. You were just extolling it, and now you're not for it. That's interesting. Of course, the other lie that I mentioned that was embedded in that is that the Green New Deal will pay for itself, which is ridiculous. Ask yourself this. If government mandates were a way to make everyone rich, then we should have all gotten ridiculously wealthy during the Obama years. Everybody should have gotten wealthy.
I'll tell you who did. Joe Biden did.
Well, yeah.
George, I got to ask the question. If you in our audience out there, Joe Biden has been in public office for 51 years. He's been 51 years since he's had a private job, okay? But yet, today, he is a multi-millionaire. He has 3 homes that are worth $10 million alone, George.
Yeah, actually, at least.
He is a multi-millionaire. For somebody who's been in, quote, public service for 51 years. So when he asks Donald Trump about his tax returns, no, we need to ask Joe Biden, Joe, all your millions of dollars, did you get that from foreign governments,
Right.
or the
Did the
pockets
Russians
of the
help buy
American
those houses that you
taxpayers?
now own? Did the Ukrainians and the Chinese? That might explain why he's so pro those various countries himself, and why he was shutting down, or in the case of Burisma, his son worked for them, and he wanted to shut down the investigation into Burisma, so it's a pretty awful thing. But anyhow, Biden claimed that the economy was booming in 2016 when he and Barack Obama left, but it wasn't. Growth was below 2% at that time, and most of the jobs they created in the 8 years of their presidency were, during that very anemic recovery, were minimum wage, low wage, part-time jobs. And Obamacare was partly to blame for that, because they basically said, if you have full-time jobs, you're going to have to pay, do this. People said, okay, fine, we'll just make part-time jobs. And part-time jobs don't pay as much. And so many Americans went from having one full-time job to having two part-time jobs and still not having any insurance, thanks to Joe Biden. And that was his wonderful economy he was talking about. He also said U.S. manufacturing went in the hole under Trump. Bald-faced lie. Trump added nearly 500,000 manufacturing jobs from January 2017 to February 2020 until the pandemic hit. And the interesting thing is, he and Barack Obama mocked then candidate Trump when he said he was going to bring jobs back to America. And they asked what magic wand he had.
Yeah.
And then when the magic wand appears, they act like, oh, yeah, well, we could have done that too. It's like,
well, George, there is a magic wand here.
Yeah.
All those jobs are going to go away again if Joe Biden gets his way and raises taxes on corporations back to 28%.
And increases
all
the regulatory burden.
All the jobs that came here because Donald Trump lowered that tax rate to 21% are going to disappear again when Joe Biden raises it back up to 28 or 35%.
Yep.
George,
the regulatory burden can be as oppressive as the tax rate. So the point is, it's a 1-2 punch, and he'll do both.
Well, George, I want to know how Joe Biden, Joe Biden's running an ad right now. He says that you're going to get $7,000 for child credit. You're going to get $15,000 if you buy a new home. If you're a low income worker, you're going to get a $14,000 wage increase. Well, George, how are you going to pay for all this? You're not going to pay for all this by raising the tax rates on anyone making over $400,000. George, the lie here is what Joe Biden's not telling the American people.
Yeah.
You know how he's going to pay for that? You know how he's going to pay for the Green New Deal and free college education and all this other
he's
stupid
going to tax
spending?
the hell out of everybody.
He's going to tax your retirement account.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to tax your savings. He's going to tax your 401k. He's going to tax your investments. George, that's the only place left that has the kind of money that Joe Biden needs to pay off all his promises. That's another lie that Joe Biden's telling.
You're right.
He may not have said it the other night, but I wanted to say it.
No, you're exactly right. That's, all I can say to that is bingo. Ding, 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 ding. Right on the nose. He also, for example, lied when he said that, Trump's economy is weak, because even amid the pandemic, just today, they announced that they had 749,000 new jobs created in September, according to the ADP report. Mm-hmm. And the bottom line there is that's even more than was expected. And a lot of people are expecting a lot of jobs. So, again, this is a guy who just kind of makes it up as he goes along. He also lied about his role in the prosecution of General Michael Flynn. And this is now a matter of public record. In other words, he could get away with this lie in 2016 and just pretend he didn't know anything about it. Mm-hmm. But we now have emails. We now have testimony. We know that he was involved, that he played a role and was active role. So anyhow, bottom line is it's crazy.
George, let me say this about the recovery. I'm surprised. I really thought that shutting the economy down would drive us into another Great Depression, the likes of 1929. All right. Our stock market today closed at 27,781. George, When Donald Trump took office, the stock market was about 17,000. It's at 27,000 today. That's even. It's really the all-time high was a little over 28,000, I do believe, about a year ago. All right, it's getting back. It's getting back to that figure. I never thought that would happen, George Landreth.
Yeah,
I was wrong about Donald Trump and his ability to end this crisis. To pull this economy back. But he's almost there already, George.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
And the economy's not even fully opened up.
Right.
Because there's still stupid governors like Mario Cuomo, like Phil Murphy, like the idiot in California, Newsom, who are still has their economies shut down.
You're right. And just one real quick, we'll just close up this segment, is Biden claims that he will be the Made in America candidate. I'm like, excuse me, where have you been the last 3 years? In 2016, when Donald Trump was running for office, he made that, and he was the only candidate doing it, making it his whole thrust of his campaign was that we were going to put America first. And so, again, he pretends that he's the guy that's going to do the things that Donald Trump's already been doing. It's just dishonest.
The only Americans Joe Biden puts first is himself, his family, and his friends. And let me tell you something, it goes beyond Hunter Biden. His brother James and his sister-in-law Sarah. Again, not my words, but according to this report, the impact on U.S. government and policy-related concerns. This is from the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs and the Senate Committee on Finance. Their words, not mine, not George Landreth, but the United States Senate. George, we needed to take a break and get our first guest on, and you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landreth. Yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, Ronald Kessler is going to be joining us. He's an investigative journalist. Don't go away. George and I will be right back with our first guest.
Mom, thank God you're gonna be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. But when I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm gonna call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show and the television show. Of course, we're carried on the Conservative Commandos radio network, all over this great nation, and on the AUN TV network, which stands for America Uncensored News TV. We're glad you're here. You can, by the way, also, if you're not near one of the broadcast towers on that, we're also on Roku under American Uncensored News. But we're there. And of course, we truly are everywhere because we have Al Gore's amazing internet. And I'm George Landreth. I'm one of your co-hosts today for Conservative Commandos. I do want to remind you, if you want to catch a rebroadcast of any of our shows, go to our website, ccrshow.com. I'm very pleased to introduce our guest. He is a friend of mine. He's been on our show before. He's always a great guest. His name is Ronald Kessler. He's a former Washington Post and Wall Street Journal investigative reporter. And he's written a series of books, all of which have been bestsellers, some on the Secret Service, some on the FBI, and most recently, he is the author of The Trump White House, Changing the Rules of the Game. And he doesn't write the way, for example, Bob Woodward does, which seems to be hit pieces. He actually is a fair and reasonable journalist and makes good points. I've had many a conversation with Ron, and what you will find is that he is smart, he's fair, he's articulate, he does his homework, and when he writes something, you can count on it. I like that about a journalist. So with that, Ronald, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos.
It's wonderful to be back with you, George. Thank you.
You have written a book that discusses and talks about things that the Secret Service have been willing to divulge to you. And the book's not partisan. For example, my recollection was that they generally liked the Obamas, not as much Hillary. So, in other words, it wasn't party related, it was personality related and so forth. Let's talk a little about what maybe they told you about the presidential candidate we have now, Mr. Biden. Did they say anything revealing about him?
Well, on the one hand, they like him much better than Hillary, as you say. Hillary is so nasty to agents that being assigned to her detail is considered a form of punishment. She seems to look for ways to make the little people, as she calls them, the people she wants to help, as unhappy as possible. But Biden will chat with them and schmooze them. On the other hand, female agents on his detail are offended that he would, when he was vice president, swim naked in front of them, both at his pool in Washington, at the Naval Observatory, and also at his home in Wilmington. And they signed up to take a bullet for the president, but not to see Mr. Biden naked.
Right. Have you ever worked at a place where if you were the boss and you walked around the office naked, that would be okay? Or do you think that employees might have something to complain about?
No, this shows that he does have a little screw loose and that he's arrogant. And of course, it was all kept secret until it came out in my book, The First Family Detail. Also, he would very thoughtlessly decide on the spur of the moment he wanted to go back to Wilmington without any advance notice, so that the agents could never plan their social lives. He would go back to Wilmington often several times a week, and all of a sudden he would say, "We're going." He would give them no advance warning, and it was very inconsiderate. But much more shocking than all that is that whenever he would go to Wilmington, he would tell agents he doesn't want the military aide with the nuclear football to be anywhere near him as he's going around in Delaware. He wants the motorcade to look like one or two cars. He wants to be regular Joe. He wants to be considered a man of the people. And so the military aide with the nuclear football has to remain at least a mile behind. And so even if there's no traffic, there would be no way for us to be saved if Obama were taken out and another country were attacking us. There'd be no way to do a counterattack. It's totally shocking, the most irresponsible thing any president or vice president could possibly do. It's just unbelievable. It's never been picked up by the media, but the details are in my book, The First Family Detail.
A very good book. I will say, by the way, Ron is not only a great journalist and author, but a humanitarian, because he had sent me a copy and my wife got a hold of it and she wouldn't let go of it. And so Ron, not wanting to see any familial discord, sent me a second one, and that way we could both read it. But I think it's the only book my wife and I have ever actually, had discord over. But anyhow, like I said, the book's not a partisan hit job, because it has not, you, for example, point out that they generally liked him as a person, in the sense that he was, he'd chat him up and was nice to him. Not always considerate, and of course the whole naked thing's a little weird. But and then if I recall, the Obamas, that you generally said that the Secret Service agents seemed to like the Obamas. Is that fair?
That's right. The Obamas treat the agents with consideration and respect. They offer them food and they chat with them. They
don't treat them like they're the hired help.
What?
They don't treat them like they're the hired help.
Yeah, not like Hillary.
Right.
They have been dismayed to overhear Michelle urge Obama to side with blacks invariably in police shooting situations without knowing any of the facts. But beyond that, they treat agents with consideration, and the same with Trump. He also likes to chat them up. He asks their opinions about different decisions he's going to make. He offers them food at the Trump golf course in West Palm Beach at the buffet last January. I was there, and Trump told the agents to partake of the buffet, not only his agents, but also the agents guarding his whole family. And boy, that's an incredible buffet. And that's the way he is. I asked Trump what he makes of being protected by the Secret Service early on, when he was first given the detail. We were sitting over the pool at Mar-a-Lago, and he said, "It's great. I'll be playing golf, and there'll be 20 agents all around me, and they'll all be looking in different directions, so they don't see if I miss a shot." So that's, and then Johnson was quite the opposite. He was nasty to agents. He was really crazy. For example, one day when he was vice president, he was going to go from the Capitol to the White House, and he was late for an appointment with JFK. It was rush hour, and the agent, couldn't do anything about it. And Johnson told the agent he was driving, "Drive up on the sidewalk. Drive up on the sidewalk. Get there faster." Well, the sidewalk was full of people, and the agent wouldn't do it. Johnson took a newspaper and hit him on the head and said, "You're fired." It turned out he wasn't fired, but this is what a crazy president we had. JFK was considerate with agents, but of course the agents were privy to his sex life, which was extensive. For example, one day JFK was swimming in the White House pool. There isn't a pool there now, but there was back then. And his two young assistants, who were known as Fiddle and Faddle, were in the pool with him, wearing only T-shirts, their nipples showing. And the agents got a message from the agents who were protecting Jackie, and they said that Jackie had left, but now she's returning unexpectedly. And they told JFK, and he just very nonchalantly and coolly got out of the pool. He gave his Bloody Mary to one of the agents. He said, "Try it, it's quite good." And this was just par for the course at the JFK White House.
Interesting. Wow. Well, it is interesting to find out, because we hear that, Joe Biden's this, awesome guy, and just, and then they try to act like, Donald Trump's just horrible. And so obviously we should be voting for Joe Biden. And having read your book, I knew that wasn't actually a fair assessment of things. It's kind of revisionist history. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. And after the break, you've written a really great column recently that I want to discuss if we can. But we are up against the clock, so I'll just remind our viewers and listeners, this is the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth, and he is Ronald Kessler. And we will be right back after these messages. But I do want to remind you, you can check out our website for more information or to get a rebroadcast of any of our shows at ccrshow.com. Don't go away.
Attention homeowners, do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show and the television show. Thanks to AM and TV Network, otherwise known as the America Uncensored News TV channel, and you can get that if you're not near one of the broadcast towers. On top of that, Roku, you can check us out there as well. Of course, we've also got Al Gore's Amazing Internet. You can find us at ccrshow.com and get all of our shows there. We've been talking with Ron Kessler. He's a former Washington Post and Wall Street Journal investigative reporter, and he's the author of The Trump White House, Changing the Rules of the Game. And if we have time, maybe you can tell us a couple of things about that might be interesting in this election year. But I did want to get into a great column that he has written that I read, and it's on education. And one of the problems we have with education not being really of the same value maybe it used to be, and how some people are getting taken for a ride and ripped off. So, Ron, would you be willing to share with us kind of what that article's about and what your point was, and what, as American consumers, we ought to be thinking about as we ask ourselves about how we're going to spend education dollars?
You know, I focused on liberal arts colleges, which claim that they're going to open students' minds, they're going to stimulate creative thinking, they want students to think independently, all these wonderful things. But then you find out that at most liberal arts colleges today, it's exactly the opposite. It's more a propaganda mill, indoctrination on left-wing ideology. One example is my son went to Yale School of Art, and he let me know that the undergraduate school had scrapped its art history course, which of course went into Picasso and Monet. And no, we don't want to really hear too much about that. Now we want to focus on issues of art in connection with race and class, and especially global warming. It's just
global
a joke.
warming art.
Right. It's like a joke out of Mad Magazine, and yet they're paying $50,000 to $60,000 a year for this real indoctrination. Just the opposite of what these colleges offer and promote publicly. And so I used Trump's decision to ask the Treasury Department to review the tax-exempt status and federal funding of some of these colleges as a hook for this column to go into this whole issue. And I suggested that while he's at it, Trump should also ask the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, to look into whether these colleges are in fact falsely promoting themselves in advertising, because they clearly are. I think you never know if this might be followed up on. I certainly sent it to Trump, and we'll see what happens. But that's the sorry situation we're in now, and of course that leads to all these left-wing protest movements, which turn into violence, where students are taught that we have a racist country, even though we elected Obama twice. That slavery is still the most important thing in our history. It's just sickening, and as Trump has said, it has to stop.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. When you look at college, they do, like you said, they'll talk about things like diversity. And what I found is diversity now at most colleges just means we look different. They're not interested in diversity of thought at all. In fact, if you express a diverse opinion from theirs, there's chances are that that's going to be called hate speech, and that you're going to be singled out for poor treatment.
Yeah. And students over and over say they're afraid to express their real thoughts because they're afraid of being failed. 95% of college professors contribute to Democrats, which would be fine if they honestly try to stimulate creative thinking, but it's just the opposite. They're propaganda mills. And of course, there's so many brilliant people such as Bill Gates and Michael Dell, going back to Walt Disney, who never went to college. In fact, 9 of our presidents never went to college or never graduated. And I'm one of those people. I'm not saying that I'm brilliant, but I did leave after 2 years.
Yeah. I've read your stuff, and I'll call you that. It would not be a mistake to refer to you as highly intelligent, and I would say also very well educated. But it may well be that you didn't finish up school, so you don't have the piece of paper saying so. But I know people who've got lots of pieces of paper on the wall, and they're dumb as grass. They can't think, and they're not well educated, but they have paper on the wall.
And often a really independent thinker, such as Bill Gates or Michael Dell, just cannot stand being told what to think, what to learn, what to read, and in this conformist atmosphere. And so that's why you see a lot of these brilliant people drop out of college. And the reason I dropped out was, again, I couldn't stand to be told what to think or read, but I was editor of my school paper, the Clark Scarlet in Worcester, Mass., and I did an article in which I called rental apartment classified ads in the paper, and I would say, is that apartment still available? They would say yes. And then I would say, by the way, my roommate is black, although back then the term was Negro. Is that a problem? And almost 40% said, yes, that's a problem. And so, now that was real racism in those days. And that was picked up by the local paper, the Worcester Telegram. It led to investigations, and then it led to my first job as a newspaper reporter. So that's how I left college.
Yeah, that sounds to me like you'd already learned what you needed to do to dig and learn how to be an investigative reporter, and sticking around in college for a longer period of time would have just postponed the time when you'd actually be doing the thing you were already ready to do and were doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe if you can, in a minute or so, you've obviously written a book on Trump and the White House. So has Bob Woodward. His seems to be kind of a gotcha piece. You don't really write like that. You're fair and even-minded, and your point is just to write a book that can stand on its own. But it's probably not fair to ask this, but in a minute or so, could you give us a synopsis of your book? I think our listeners might want to read it. I would recommend they should. Don't buy the garbage that Bob's put out. Read the good work that Ron put out. But give us what they might find.
Yeah, well, I consider it a truthful book, meaning it goes into all of the wonderful results that Trump has produced. It says that he's going to be seen one day as one of the greatest presidents, just like Ronald Reagan, who was also dissed by the media. But it also goes into some of the things that make us all cringe, the tweets and the comments. I interviewed Norma Forderer, who was Trump's top aide for 26 years. And she said there are two Donald Trumps. One is the one you see on TV, who makes these sometimes outrageous comments to get attention for his brand. And even if it is negative attention, it still increases his profile, and people want to see more of him and his properties. And then there's the real Donald, who's the opposite. He listens, he's thoughtful, and people are always amazed at the difference. But that is how he plays the game, and I hope that helps explain how he operates. That's what I try to do in the book, explain who this guy is. I've known him for 2 decades. My wife, Pam, and I, who's also a former Washington Post reporter, flew down with him to Mar-a-Lago 2 decades ago when I was doing a book about Palm Beach. And so I've known him ever since, and I think the book, The Trump White House, Changing the Rules of the Game, tells the real story of Donald Trump.
Absolutely. I think another of one of your books that is well worth reading. So again, just in our remaining seconds, can you tell folks how they can get a hold of your books, follow your columns, just be aware of all things Ron Kessler, because they'll be smarter if they are? Well,
thank you. The book is, and all the books, including about the FBI, the CIA, the Secret Service, are all available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and also on my website, ronaldkessler.com, which has many of my op-eds on the last page. I write op-eds for a variety of outlets, but especially the Washington Times. I also appear on Newsmax TV. In fact, this Saturday at 9 p.m., Newsmax TV is running a 1-hour documentary called Trump and Me, A Conversation with Ron Kessler. And they're running that periodically. The premiere was a week ago. And in that, I do try to tell the real story of Donald and Melania. Melania is a huge asset to Trump, and I go into how influential she is, how respected she is by all of the aides, they don't agree on anything, but they agree on one thing, which is Melania is awesome, and they listen, they admire her judgment. So I think that's important. And I try to tell, these stories with real facts, with real narration of real anecdotes. And one example, if we have a minute more, is one day at Mar-a-Lago, Tony Seneca, the butler at Mar-a-Lago, opened the door, and there was Martha Stewart. And she said, could I take a tour of Mar-a-Lago? He said, sure, why don't you come back tomorrow at 3 p.m.? And Tony told Donald. Donald said, fine. But then later in the day, Tony went to check on Donald to see if he needs anything in the private quarters. And Trump started screaming at him, yelling at him, you fool, you shouldn't have scheduled it for 3 p.m. You should have scheduled it for noon when the club members will be here. They'll be having lunch. They'll see Martha, and Martha will see them, and they'll all be impressed. So, of course, Trump is trying to promote Mar-a-Lago. At that moment, Melania walked in, and she said to her husband, I don't think you should be talking to Tony in that tone. So if you think, that Melania is some pushover, think again. Nothing more was said, except the next morning, both Trump and Tony were in the living room of Mar-a-Lago, and Trump handed Tony $2,000 in $20 bills. I have no idea why $20 bills, and that was his apology. Just the type of anecdote that I like to include in my books.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to have the inside scoop, and we appreciate the time you spent with us, Ron. I encourage people to check out your website, ronkessler.com. And but anyhow, we are up against the break, and the clock sometimes is a cruel taskmaster, but we are the conservative Commandos, and I'll just remind you our website, ccrshow.com. But with that, because of the clock, I've got to say, we will be right back.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Broken AC, $4,600. Water heater, $1,500. Fridge on the fritz, $1,000. You need home warranty coverage from the Home Service Club for around $1 a day. If any of your covered appliances and systems break down, HSC will either repair or replace them.
HSC provides coverage of up to 47 different appliances and systems in your home.
I trust HSC.
HSC has over 15,000 pre-screened, highly rated technicians with the fastest response time in the industry. They cover everything from ACs, stoves, fridges, pool pumps, and more. Call the number on your screen now for a free no-obligation quote from a trusted HSC specialist about a home warranty for your entire home, backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get 1 month free plus $75 off your first year of coverage. 1 month free and $75 off your first year. The Home Service Club.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and zero deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show, the television show. You can catch us online as well, thanks to Al Gore's amazing internet. We've, of course, got the AUN TV network and the Conservative Commandos radio network as well. And we're just glad you're here. This is the place to be, as I like to say. I'm George Landreth. I'm one of the Conservative Commandos hosts. And I do want to remind you, check out our website, ccrshow.com, if you want to rebroadcast, more information, whatever. It's all there. I am very pleased to introduce our guest, Tom Del Beccaro. He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of mine. And if you are a conservative and you care about liberty, he's your friend too. He's proven that over his career. He's a respected thinker and author. He's a columnist. You've seen his stuff at Fox News. You've seen it at Epoch Times. You see him also on Fox Business. He's got a great resume. He's been the former chairman of the California Republican Party. He's also been a U.S. Senate candidate, if I recall, against Kamala Harris. So he's also the author of a book that I think you may have watched the debate earlier this week and said to yourself, we seem pretty divided. Well, Tom has a book called The Divided Era, and it explains what this division is and what's going on. And if you want to understand, it's not just that he tells you it's divided, he helps you understand what's going on. But anyhow, great book. I recommend you read it. But with that, Tom, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, great. It's been a while. And yeah, the fireworks during the debate, you can expect more in the future, and quite a bumpy ride between now and Election Day.
Absolutely. You wrote a great article in the Epoch Times, a place that you publish frequently, kind of giving your assessment of what had happened. And I'd love to have us talk about that because I think your analysis it's always spot on.
Well, excuse me. Not a COVID cough. You know, there's two aspects of the debate. There is the sort of what the viewer hears and sees and the content of the debate. And obviously this debate was a lot of viewing, and there was the catfighting, and a lot of people got lost in that and didn't like it. And there was interesting responses. You know, I found it interesting, of course, that CNN viewers found Biden winning dramatically, but then of course they said Hillary won dramatically. They said Hillary 4 years ago won by 35 points, Biden won by 32. Interestingly enough, Spanish language Telemundo had Trump winning, and their viewers 66 to 34. I think that's a really telling poll about where we are in this election among Latinos. They have no love for Joe Biden. And then C-SPAN's poll had Trump winning 53-29, which is also very important because a lot of the C-SPAN viewers are independents who don't want to hear all of the spin from the major networks. But if you got past the noise and the arguing, Joe Biden said, I listed 11 things. We should talk about a couple of them at least, and then people go look for the article at Epoch Times. And he didn't say 4 particular things. Let's start with the things that he didn't say. And I think they're telling, and I don't think in this day and age it's okay for a candidate to respond, which Joe Biden did to a question. He said, I'm not going to answer that. And the question, of course, is whether...
And it was a big issue. It wasn't like some... yeah, I mean, it wasn't like some crazy thing like, what's your position on green beans at school lunches?
Yeah. And you're right. It wasn't, or broccoli and George Bush, the senior. No, this was do you support packing the Supreme Court? Because multiple high-level Democrats have said that. And the man...
Including his VP.
Yeah, right? And the man who declared him on the debate stage, I am the Democrat Party. Did you see that part? Yeah. I'm not sure I've ever heard or seen something like that. Maybe you have. I don't recall a candidate being, I don't know. Could you imagine if Trump said, I am the Democrat Party? What would Republican Party, what would they be saying? Anyway, on the issue of packing the Supreme Court and getting rid of the Senate filibuster, he refused to answer. And I think that looks bad. He also had,
and then he filled the rest of his time with an impassioned plea that you need to vote and make me president, even though I won't answer this question.
Yeah.
Talk about a non-response.
Yeah, and it's ducking it. And, you know, I don't think that plays well. But My favorite moment of the debate, and really a lot of debates, was the question, I know you enjoyed it too, was go ahead and name a single police endorsement that you have received.
Yeah. Crickets.
And the eerie silence. And Trump says, take your time. We have a lot of time. But we don't have time. But the things he did say matter as well. And let's take one in particular. He was asked about his $4 trillion tax hike over the next 10 years. Didn't dispute the amount. Doubled down on it. And as I've previously written in Epoch Times, if you're out there wanting to raise taxes, you generally lose. There hasn't been a winner who came out and said during the campaign, I'm going to raise your taxes. They all lose. Walter Mondale lost. You had, John Kerry lost, Al Gore. They all lose because when you say you're going to raise taxes, people don't want that. And he, $4 trillion. And so he doubled down on that. On the other hand, he tried to say that he wasn't for the Green New Deal. And yet his website says the Green New Deal is the essential framework. So it's interesting here. He was all for the raising the taxes. We know he's against fracking. He's trying to, say he is and he isn't. But denying the Green New Deal, George, I'd be interested in what you have to say to this, because doesn't that strike at AOC, Bernie, and all of their followers saying, oh, no, I'm not going to do that, even though he has signed on for that? I think that is a serious problem he faces now with his base going forward.
No, I agree with you there. I don't believe him when he denied his support for the Green New Deal. I think he will certainly support it, and maybe they'll see it that way. But they have to be a little offended. It'd be a little bit like your, if your spouse overheard a conversation which you kind of said, yeah, I really don't love her. I just married her because her dad's rich. I bet you she would be a little hurt. I bet you that might influence the, you could later deny you said it or meant it, but that would be kind of devastating to the relationship. So I kind of half expect that they have to be saying, wait a minute, what's wrong with me that you don't love, because AOC is totally all in on this. She's just stupid enough to, in her heart of hearts, believe it's a good idea. And basically the former vice president just said, oh yeah, I'm only marrying her because, her dad's rich. I can't stand her. Is that fair?
I'm not married, so I'm not gonna. I'm a single guy. I'm not gonna go on that. But you're 110% right.
Yeah, but you can imagine that wouldn't be good for the relationship.
No, you're being. I'm kidding. You're 100%. He also said, that Antifa was just an idea.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Jerry Nadler craziness.
Yeah.
And
didn't he kind of imply the FBI says that too, and that's not true?
Well, Christopher Wray said it's not a single organization, but it is doing things.
Right. Well, that may be true. It may be diffuse in terms of how it's organized.
Yeah, but Joe Biden saying it's just an idea. That's what Nadler said. There's a huge difference.
Yeah. Do ideas start fires?
Yeah, that's exactly. That was my Facebook post today about do ideas start fires? Not metaphorically, we're talking real. And so when you mix those kind of things together, he said things that no one can feel comfortable with. But if I think Trump wants to come out in the next two debates, he's got to let Joe say those ridiculous things and not step on them. The old line, you don't step on applause. You don't walk away from applause. But what he needs to do in the debate is simply say, Joe Biden thinks Antifa is just an idea. I don't. Let Joe Biden then lie about whether he said it or not, like he lied about whether he called African-American men predators. He did. There's YouTube videos showing it. But let Biden just lie and not interrupt him while he's lying. Just let him get the lie out and then say, well, there's video showing that he did. And I think that would be more effective.
Totally agree with you. This guy's willing to hang himself. Don't pull the rope tight. Give him extra rope. Give him some slack so he can tie the knot. He'll do it. But your analysis, as always, is dead on there. We are up against the break, and so I do want to remind our viewers and our listeners, this is the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth. He's Tom Del Beccaro, and we will be right back after these messages, so don't go away. But if you want more information, or if you missed part of the first part of the interview, check out our website, ccrshow.com. It will all be there.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show, television show, podcast, you name it. We are on traditional broadcast towers, radio and television, thanks to the AUN TV network, thanks to Conservative Commando Radio Network, and of course, we're always grateful for Al Gore's amazing internet. I'm George Landreth, and of course, I'm glad that Tom Del Beccaro is stuck around through the break because we've got lots more to talk about, and I think there's just, this is I jokingly sometimes say it's been a slow news week, but I don't think we've had one of those in several years. But at any rate, but Tom is, he's a respected thinker. He's an author and speaker. You can catch his stuff at Fox News and Fox Business and the Epoch Times, and also his own website, tomdell.com. But at any rate, Tom, we were just talking about the debate we saw, but also let's talk now about the other big story, and that is the Supreme Court vacancy. And I first might ask you just kind of, we've heard a lot about waxing indignant about the hypocrisy that the Republicans want to fill this seat when they wouldn't do it in 2016. And my way of looking at it is historically it's not hypocritical at all. But I'll ask you to kind of tell us what you think because, it's your analysis is always good.
At the end of the day, this is a big prize, as President Trump said or alluded to. There's no way they shouldn't do this. Indeed, 22 presidents have faced election year vacancies. All 22 have nominated. 19 of the times the Senate was, and that presidency was in the same hands, and it went through, except for once with Abe Fortas under Johnson because he had corruption issues that surfaced.
And that was bipartisan.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
his own party didn't agree with him.
Yeah. So there you go. Now, there are 10 other times these vacancies came up and the nominations were met, as you pointed out in your article at Red State, there are mixed results. They didn't go through, they withdrew, they appealed to the American voter. This is just simple. And back in 2016, Mitch McConnell said outright, the media doesn't want to talk about that there is a difference when they are in the same hands based on an election. And McConnell today says, look, you increased the size of the Senate 2 years ago, so don't tell us that was accidental. So there is that difference. Yeah. And let me say that a historian 50 years from now, if they looked back and there was a massive constitutional crisis and the Supreme Court was deadlocked, who would they blame? They wouldn't blame the Supreme Court. They would blame the president for leaving that situation. So there's really no plausible argument about whether she should be, whether the nomination should go forward. And this because Chuck Schumer's arguing against her, her views, not the process anymore, because they know they're going to lose the process argument. And now they're going after them that she would strike down Obamacare. And the Republicans need to respond to that and push their alternative to Obamacare clearly. I don't think the president did that clearly in the debate. It made it look like they didn't have a plan. And Chris Wallace kept saying he didn't have a plan, which is typical of these moderators.
Yeah, and that's not true. They have a plan. It's frustrating when I thought over and over again, Chris Wallace did exactly what you described, which was he characterized things the way you would if you were Joe Biden's campaign manager.
Yeah. It drives me nuts. And it drives a lot of people on the right nuts. And Trump, I think, said something to the effect of debating both of you, it turns out. But the reality is that this is going to go through, and this matters because, first of all, she has the Scalia philosophy that the issue is only constitutionality. We don't have the right to make laws. And Congress has the leeway as long as it's constitutional, which is...
Even if it's a bad idea. Congress can do stupid things that are constitutional.
Yes, and that was the sort of the way the founders viewed not only Congress's role, but also the states. They had the right to experiment. Scalia actually raises Congress up and says, you have a job and you're entitled to do it. Whereas social justices, I wrote about that years ago at Forbes, like Breyer, like the RBG, like Kagan. By the way, I love the argument. Oh, she didn't have enough experience, really? Because Kagan wasn't even a judge. But they look at laws whether they produce social justice outcomes that these four judges liked. Okay? That's a completely different issue. That's Congress's job to come up with a law and see if it produces the outcome. But these judges don't look to the Constitution for that. They look for what they feel should be the right outcome. And Barrett's not that way. And you and I both know that the Democrats for decades have been relying on the Supreme Court to make law as opposed to review law. And this appointment really narrows their lane for getting those things in the future from the Supreme Court.
It does indeed. It'll be interesting to watch because if polls are correct, which of course they aren't, but they might have some nugget of truth to them. And I suspect that it is true that that Trump is doing less well with suburban women than he is perhaps with other demographics. At least that much I'm willing to accept as plausible. How will they stomach the idea of taking this mother of seven, professional, really accomplished professional, not just somebody who has a job, but somebody who's really good at what she does. So good that people who say, I disagree with her stance on most issues, but she's brilliant and she's very, very capable. And they compliment her professionalism. How will they take to the kind of what I would just say is the savaging of her? Is that going to have any impact? Or do you think they say, oh, that's good, savage her because I don't like what she stands for?
Well, as you know, I question whether Democrats will allow a working woman to get a job in this particular case. And, everybody's sort of assuming the Democrats will savage. And let me say for a moment that that possibly won't occur because she's Catholic. The Latinos are monolithically Catholic. They are trending towards Trump. Will they attack the Catholic faith while Latinos are already being spurned? That's an issue. Working women. She's a working woman. She's a working mother.
And she'd be the only mother on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
She'd be the only woman who has children.
Will they attack that? Kamala Harris, George. Can Kamala Harris act again that way while she's running for vice president? Won't people look at that and say, oh my God, we don't want that? That's an issue for them. So I'm not certain, despite all the evidence of their recent activity, which you have cited, that they're going to treat her in the same way. If they do, I think it carries bad political connotation for them, and it will result in this deflation because she's got to be on the court. And I think it'll hurt them with election day turnout, although I don't, so much of this early voting and fraudulent voting, Joe Biden, again, no problems with this, despite Ilhan Omar, despite what we see in Texas, where a Biden campaign official is part of a illegal harvesting program, or at least that's the allegation. So I don't know. I'm not certain they are going to be as rough and tumble as you suggest.
That would be interesting. You could well be right. I mean, that would be the smart thing to do. The question will be is can they separate their kind of vitriol in their brain from their intelligence in their brain? And that we'll see. We'll have to see. But you make a very good point. As you always want to do. I just, very consistent. That's one thing about Tom you will know, is that he is consistently making good points. So, well, Tom, before our time's about up, but I want folks to be able to follow the work that you do because it's impressive. I think that their political IQ will go up if they read your book. Their political IQ will go up if they read your articles. So share with us how we can follow you.
Politicalvanguard.com is a good place. TomDell.com, and you can always check me out at Fox or at Epoch Times, and I'll be writing a lot about. So let's probably do this once a week between now and election day.
Sounds good.
And see what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, boss.
So absolutely, I'm very happy to have you. And the truth is, there will not be a slow news day between now and November. That's for sure.
And it's not going to end after that.
You're right. You are right.
Right.
You are right. But we are up against the break, and so I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to remind our listeners, this is the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth. He is Tom Del Beccaro, and we, of course, will be returning right after this. The Conservative Commandos is not going away, but just remind you, check out our website, ccrshow.com, and we also have a Roku channel now. You just have to look for the AUN TV network. So don't go away. We will be back.
Mom, thank God you're gonna be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm gonna call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day, and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show, the television show carried on the AUN TV network. Of course, that stands for the America Uncensored News. You can now find us on Roku, which is kind of cool, so that you don't have to be near a broadcast tower, and you don't even have to go to our website at ccrshow.com to get to download the episode. You can actually get it on your Roku channel. And of course, if you are not near a broadcast tower and you don't have Roku, there's always Al Gore's Amazing Internet, so we truly are everywhere. And just want to remind you, again, ccrshow.com is the place where you can get more information and rebroadcasts and so forth. I'm very glad to be able to introduce once again my friend, your friend, a friend of the show, now a regular participant in the Conservative Commandos, Christine Hicks. She's a common sense constitutional conservative. She's from a deep blue state, and she loves her country, she appreciates its history, and she believes in freedom as a governing philosophy, something that perhaps many of her neighbors where she's from don't see it that way, but she does. So with that, Christine, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos.
Good to be here.
It's good to have you. Well, this week, you know, I sometimes joke that it's been a slow news week, but that would be a lie. It's not been a slow news week. We had the first presidential election this week. It was... Well, I'm going to leave the characterization of it to you. Instead of me saying what it was like, I think maybe I should let you tell us how you saw it. I thought it was unusual. I'll just say that much and leave the rest to you.
Yeah, it was different. It was frustrating, but sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. So hopefully next time will be better.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
I hear you. One of the things that I thought was interesting, I saw some undecided voters that were being talked to about their expression, and they seemed to express that frustration as they wanted more substantive answers.
Yeah.
And I can see that because kind of what you had was two guys talking over each other and kind of like a long cat fight almost. At the same time, I thought it was interesting that at Telemundo, a Spanish language news service that I would argue probably leans left, by a 2-to-1 margin, its viewers viewed Donald Trump as the winner, which I thought was curious because, don't get me wrong, I believe the president has been doing a really good job as president. So, but I don't know that last night was his best performance. Right. Just, you know, so a 2-to-1 margin struck me as wow. What do you think it is about perhaps Latinos that saw that that way? Was there an issue perhaps that was discussed that just it tipped their hand in one direction or the other?
I don't think so. I think I'm seeing a lot of support for him this time in general, and I feel like, you know, people's minds are already made up, you know, and I don't think the debates are going to decide this election. You know, it was a bad debate, but there'll be other debates, but what matters is the job he's doing. You know, for one thing, it's very unusual for a president to be not get a second term. And you know, we know what we would get with Trump with another term, and with Biden, you know, it's risky because you don't know. You really don't know. I mean, no matter what he says, it's just talk, you know. And I think it's just going to come down to the economy. I think that's the main thing. And, you know, the virus and everything, that wasn't Trump's fault. And, I mean, if you listen to the Democrats, on the one hand, they're blaming Trump for what's happened to the economy, but at the same time, they're saying he's too relaxed with, you know, COVID. So it's like, well, which one is it? You know, because, I mean, that virus isn't his fault. You know, everything was good up until then. And we're trying to get back on track. I mean, with Biden, who knows how long it would be before we could do that with him.
Right. Yeah, you make a very good point on the economy. One thing that the former Vice President Biden made very clear is that he's prepared to shut the economy down and keep schools closed for an extended period of time. I mean, that was crystal clear last night. And I can't imagine there's a lot of people who feel that way. You'd have to be a pretty hardcore Democrat, I think, to be willing to even consider that idea. Because anybody with any sense has to realize this isn't any way to run a country. We can't do this in perpetuity. If we keep people unemployed, if we keep people out of school in perpetuity, that basically will destroy the country. You know, nobody will pay for their food and their home, and you know that just there's at some point the government can't bail us all out. We actually have to be able to go to work, and it is interesting. And you could always argue, you know, in hindsight, we could have done this better or that better. But Donald Trump didn't shut the country down, and we've never shut the country down in the past. And even in 1917, when you had the worst modern day pandemic, when you look at the percentages of people it killed. We didn't shut the country down. And so it's kind of interesting that all of a sudden now, 2020, you know, hindsight, 2020 vision, he should have shut us down earlier. Well, the president doesn't have the power to shut us down. That's not how it works. He can shut down international travel, but he can't shut down individual economies. He can't tell you can't go to work. He can't tell me I can't do that. That's a state issue. So it's just, I think, a very odd message.
It is. I think it's just a way for them, you know, the more control they have over the people, that's what they want. You know, they want dependence upon the government. I mean, I keep seeing, they keep talking about failure of leadership. Like, they need someone to tell them, you know, to wear a mask, or that this virus was serious, or people don't need someone to give them common sense, you know, and the virus isn't his fault. The economy, what happened to it isn't his fault. He's trying to get it back on track. And, you know, no matter what he does, he can't win with them. You know, he shut the economy down. That's wrong. You know, if he doesn't shut it down, that's wrong, too. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
you know?
No, that's a very good point.
One thing about Biden, he tries to come across as a moderate, but you can tell with him that he would very easily go far left. I mean, you can just tell. He's trying to play both cards, you know, like be a moderate, but not let down the, you know, the extremists either.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that. And I think that's why he wouldn't answer the question about court packing. I don't think he wanted to tell the American public, because his answer really was, I'm not going to answer your question. I just want you to vote for me. Because remember, he said, I won't answer your question. And then he went into this impassioned plea about how everyone needs to show up and vote. And then it's kind of like, so he was saying basically, I would argue, what Nancy Pelosi once said, which was, you're going to have to vote for it to find out what's in it. He was basically telling the American public, you know, I won't tell you where I stand on this issue. Vote for me, and then you will find out. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and the stuff with the environment, I thought Trump was very reasonable on that subject. You know, he uses good common sense. Joe Biden, on the other hand, I mean, some of the stuff that he was talking about, I mean, we all know what they want to do. I mean, just really unreasonable, unrealistic, irrational things that I think would scare most people. Like, everyone, we all want a clean environment, you know, but there's a way to do that and use common sense, and there's a way not to. I mean, you know, I mean, look what they're doing in California with, they want to get rid of gas-powered cars, and I think by 2035 or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
they don't have enough electricity to even run their current system.
I mean, that's...
So buy an electric car, but you can't charge it.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. It's pretty nutty. It's kind of odd because none of this makes any sense when you listen to their plans. And like you said, on the environment, guess what? We all want clean air, we want clean water, but we'd also like to have a job. Is it too much to ask to have clean air and clean water and have a job?
Trump is much more practical and down to earth. You know, I mean, Democrats can talk a lot of talk, but Trump is actually, talking about real things that we need. I mean, you can't just talk about global warming. You have to talk about, like, what's actually that we can fix right now, like as far as the fires and everything. He's talking about forest management. I mean, that, that should be common sense, but, like, no one's talking about it. Instead, they're just talking about global warming,
Yeah.
So,
and if it's global warming, why aren't those same fires burning just north of, the United States boundary with Canada?
Yeah,
in other words, it seems to me it's forest management is probably the problem.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly wouldn't hurt, and it's not like they're really being aggressive about it. And, obviously there's a lot of drought there, and then there's the water ban. So, I mean, all of these things they could work on besides just talking about global warming. I mean, talking's not going to fix things. We need actual action. I think that's one of the things people like about Trump. And now you see with his platinum plan here for black people, it's actually an actual plan rather than just talking about things for a change, and so that's what we need. And I think most people know that,
Yeah, talk is cheap. Action actually says something. I know you're exactly right. We are up against the clock, so we should take our break now, just because sometimes the clock is a cruel taskmaster. But I'm glad you joined us here on Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth. She is Christine Hicks, and we will be right back. But I do want to remind you, if you need to check out our website for a rebroadcast, if you tuned in late and you need to catch the rest of the show, ccrshow.com is the place to go. We'll be back.
Attention homeowners. Do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos, the radio show and the television show, carried on the AM and TV network, which you can, of course, get on over the air. And then if you're not near a broadcast tower, you can get it on Roku. All you have to do is look up the America Uncensored News. And, of course, on radio, the Conservative Commandos radio network. And if you're not near one of the broadcast towers, never fear, because there's also Al Gore's amazing internet. TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, you name it, it's all there. And our own website, ccrshow.com. We have been talking with Christine Hicks, and she's a common sense constitutional conservative from a deep blue state. We were talking about the debate earlier this week. And one of the things I thought was interesting, Christine, was the fact that I didn't see what I would call the stereotypical kind of cringeworthy gaffe that you see Joe Biden make. There were certainly lots of mistakes. I mean, he was and certainly lots of what you could catch him in a lie if you wanted to fact check everything. On the one hand, he says the Green New Deal wasn't his thing, and then it's on his website that says it is his thing. He said it was going to pay for itself and blah blah. It's like he's on all sides of every issue. It's like makes you dizzy sometimes just thinking about it. And there was lots of that going on. So there are those kinds of gaffes, as it were, but he did kind of avoid what you might call that meltdown gaffe, where he says something, you just shake your head and go, "What is wrong with this man? He's lost it." But my guess is we haven't seen his last gaffe. Any thoughts on that?
Well, with the debate, I mean, I think it's just a matter of him sticking to a script. It's when he's caught off guard where he really messes up. Recently, he said the reason he was able to quarantine because some black woman stocked the shelves at the supermarket, instead of just saying because someone stocked the shelves at the supermarket. He said right. Some black woman, because only black women do that sort of stuff. I mean, right. He's always saying things like that.
Right. Yeah, like if you don't vote for him, you're not black. Just like you scratch your head and go, okay. And it's funny. And last night he called Donald Trump the racist. Imagine if Donald Trump were telling people, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Or, thankfully, he doesn't know who stocked the shelves, but he just assumes it's a black woman.
Yeah.
And, I have a feeling we'd hear about that.
Oh, yeah. We'd never hear the end of it.
Yeah. That's for sure. There are gaffes where people just say kind of utterly foolish things. And then there's moments of kind of accidental candor where they, a candidate will tell you what they really think. An example to me would be when Kamala Harris was talking about the rioting and said basically, she said it's not going to stop and it shouldn't stop. It's like, really? And that's the kind of lines they were using all the way through and up and including to their convention. They weren't saying anything bad about the rioting. Last night, Biden was telling us how he's been very clear that he opposes violence. And the answer is no, that's actually not true, Joe. You've been utterly silent on it until your poll numbers started dropping after your convention. And the reason was clear because you were seen as the pro-rioting candidate. Then you got clear. I'm just curious if you have a sense of how that issue plays out, whether it's just the Americans at large or maybe even Latinos, because we were talking earlier about how the Telemundo said that 2-1, they thought Trump won the debate. I'm trying to figure out what they were watching that made them so confident that he won. I think they were reading between the lines somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that people, like with myself, I mean, my mind is already made up regardless of that debate, or what was said or what wasn't said. As far as the rioting, I think they let it go as long as they could. I mean, we're, very close to the election, and they just now, all of a sudden, started talking about how violence is never. I mean, come on, this has been going on for months, and I think it's just was another way to hurt the economy and more stuff just to blame on Trump, and I don't think people look at it like that at all. I think they look at those rioters as Democrats, and Democrat supporters. They're certainly not Trump supporters. Right. So, and last night, when the debate was on, I think what probably Trump's strongest point was the law and order stuff, and I mean, Joe Biden, you can tell, like I said, he's trying to play both cards, be the moderate, but also not let down the radical left, and I mean, he goes through the motions or whatever, but, Trump is very firmly law and order, and I think that, that's like one of the most basic things that every person wants. You want safety, you want order. So, just basic stuff like that, like I said, about actually getting stuff done, the Democrats are just, they're not there. They're not keeping it together. All they're doing is talking, and I don't think people feel safe with that option. It just feels too risky. No matter what Joe Biden says, you feel like you have no idea what you're going to get. You don't even know, is he going to be in charge or is Kamala Harris going to be, and you get the feeling that it's going to be Kamala Harris. And what do people really know about her,
Right. Well, we know that she was the most liberal member of Congress based on her voting record. So it's like, he tells us he'll be the most progressive president ever, but heaven knows what she'd be. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
But anyhow, one of the things that I think was interesting was, and I don't know if you think this was credible, but Biden in the debate claimed that the economy was booming in 2016 when he and Barack Obama left office, and that now, of course, the economy's in the trash can and that's all Trump's fault. And I just thought to myself, I don't know if any Americans are really going to believe all that. One, the economy wasn't booming when Obama and he left. Our growth was below 2%. It's not to say we weren't having slow and anemic growth. There was slow and anemic growth. But basically, if you looked at the jobs numbers, they were creating jobs, but they were almost exclusively minimum wage and low wage part-time jobs. The wages were not going up. And during the Trump economy, they were going up until the pandemic hit. And you had record low unemployment, but now with jobs that paid enough because the pay was going up. I think most people, they may not be aware of the economic statistics, but I think most people are aware what their paycheck looks like. And I think most people are aware of how secure they feel. Do they feel nervous about their future? Are they worried about what the future bears? Or do they say to themselves, life's actually going pretty good right now, I'm feeling good? And I just don't know that Biden really had much to say that most people would go, yeah, that's how I remember it. What do you think?
I think that's one of the things with Trump that people do feel really confident about. I mean, with him being a businessman, we did have a good economy before the virus hit. Some of the things that the Democrats want to do would cost so much money, and shutting down the economy further for this virus obviously would cost how many businesses? I mean, look what's been hurt already. So I think people trust Trump when it comes to the economy for sure.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think they do. Even if they don't like his tweeting account or sometimes the way he does things, or maybe they didn't like last night's debate. It's hard not to like the fact that you feel like your job's going to be there tomorrow. What's he trying to accomplish when he tells people that's not what you're experiencing? Because, it's kind of like he's telling me, what are you going to believe? You going to believe me telling you what it's like, or are you going to believe your own eyes? I'm like, I think I'll trust my eyes.
Right. I think most people just want basic things. They want the economy to be run right. They want a paycheck. They want to be able to pay their bills, and they want safety. And these are the things that Trump runs on, and the things that people care about, including, Hispanics, immigrants, legal immigrants, just things like that. Not, the Democrats make a lot of promises, but what do they really deliver? What have they delivered in the past, 60 years? They're still saying the same things, and they still haven't delivered. So Trump has, until, this virus from China happened.
You make a very good point.
I'm optimistic that, we can return back to what it was before that, and hopefully that's what happens we'll see.
Yeah, I've got my fingers crossed, and I think you're probably right. I think that people are going to have enough sense, because it's not just the Democrats that have not produced anything, quite frankly, in 60 years. Joe Biden's been in the Senate or vice president for 47 years.
Right.
And he's now promising to fix all the things that have been wrong with the country for 47 years. It's kind of like, why weren't you working on this before now?
Yeah.
You know, so I think you're exactly right that that's just not a good message.
Hold on.
Well, our time's about up, but I do want to make sure our viewers and our listeners know they can follow you. So one, on Instagram, you're at Christine M. Hicks, Hixx. And on Facebook, which is where most of your political postings are, it's just Christine Hicks. Again, Hixx. So I appreciate you spending time with us this evening. It's been fun just to get a little bit into how the debate affects people and how they saw it. And I think you gave us a good, insight to understand how, intelligent people who aren't inside the Beltway see things. And so I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Okay. Nice to be here.
Absolutely. But like I said, we're up against the break. I just want to remind everyone, this is the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth, and she is Christine Hicks. The Conservative Commandos will be right back after these messages, but I do want to remind you, we're everywhere. Just, you name it, we're there. TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, AM 24/7, and of course, ccrshow.com. Don't go away. The Conservative Commandos will be right back.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Broken AC, $4,600. Water heater, $1,500. Fridge on the fritz, $1,000. You need home warranty coverage from the Home Service Club for around $1 a day. If any of your covered appliances and systems break down, HSC will either repair or replace them.
HSC provides coverage of up to 47 different appliances and systems in your home.
I trust HSC.
HSC has over 15,000 pre-screened, highly rated technicians with the fastest response time in the industry. They cover everything from ACs, stoves, fridges, pool pumps, and more. Call the number on your screen now for a free, no-obligation quote from a trusted HSC specialist about a home warranty for your entire home, backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get 1 month free plus $75 off your first year of coverage. 1 month free and $75 off your first year. The Home Service Club.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and zero deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Well, George, once again, I want to thank you for sitting in as my co-host, and the best to your family, especially your son, who has to wear the Biden T-shirt and is taking all that abuse. I hope the abuse ends.
I've asked my wife to take it down a notch.
All right. But George, how can our listeners and viewers follow what you're doing when you're not here on Conservative Commandos?
Probably the two best ways would just be to go to Frontiers of Freedom's website, ff.org, 2 F's and then .org. Couldn't get much easier than that. And then my Twitter is just my first initial and my last name. So GLANDRITH.
Mm-hmm.
So simple enough. And I should just give a quick thanks to our guests. We had some great guests. Ron Kessler gave us some real interesting insights into kind of the odd bird that actually not odd, I would say sick and disgusting, but depraved person that Joe Biden is. And then how he endangered national security. And then on top of that, looking at education and higher education, how it's failing our youth is important. Tom Del Beccaro, just a really good review of what's going on, both with the nomination and the confirmation of Judge Barrett, and of course the debate analysis that he provided was really insightful. And then Christine Hicks, I always like what she has to say because she comes from this deep blue state, and yet she has this, I think, innate kind of understanding of how conservatism and freedom works. And so it was very interesting to kind of hear her take on the debate. And again, while I think she thought it was unfortunate that maybe some of the debate wasn't clearer and a little easier to follow, on balance, still, the president was the likely winner, even in a close call, and will likely be the winner on Election Day because people vote their pocketbook and they vote their freedom.
Hey, George, you know who else called the president a winner in the debate? Telemundo.
Yeah, that's right. We talked about it with Christine.
That was shocking. That Telemundo.
2-1. It wasn't close. It wasn't 51-49.
It really, and I think what that really points out how popular this president is with Hispanics.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be causing Joe Biden to shake in his boots. I got to be honest with you, George. But for right now, we're out of time, and we got to run, and we got to go. Take care. God bless, and we'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.